just to say, you know, as you probably know, we're the CDT in Composites Science, Engineering and Manufacturing, or CoSEM as we like to call it. And this was our vision, and still is our vision. We want to develop highly talented science engineering graduates, and we give them technical skills, tool sets and research and professional skills to become the next generation of leaders in the field of science engineering and manufacture of advanced composites. And we started in 2019 with just over £6 million from the Engineering and Physical Science Research Council, and we're training our outstanding graduates until 2028, and this is the last intake this year in 2023. We're embedded within the larger Bristol Composites Institute at the university. As already said, we're funded by the EPSRC, but we also have funding from the university itself and industrial partners, and we've got a very significant industrial support base. We have national and international academic collaborations, which are part of the CDT, and we've got a long history of doing CDT. So we started way back in 2009, so we've got a lot of experience of how to run these. So it's quite an established program at Bristol. So what do we offer? Well, we offer a 4-year PhD in advanced composites. We have at least 10 funded places per year. We've got just a few left now to fill, so we're very keen to speak to people like yourself. We have a cohort-driven training approach, so students come in as a cohort, they learn as a cohort, and they go throughout the 4 years as that cohort. And during the time that they're with us, they have transferable skills, and we encourage and fund international and industrial placements, programs of public engagement. We have an integrated talk component to the program, which is in small group teaching with some hands-on laboratory work, and then you have an individual 3-month exploratory research project. And we've got a wide choice of cutting-edge projects, both blue skies and applied, that you can take part in. So what about the Bristol Composites Institute? Well, it brings together composites work across the university, not just in the engineering part of the university, and it was established in 2017 as a specialist research institute, and it built on the expertise and a long track record that we had in what was called Axis at that time, of composites research. And we have a big focus on our collaborations with academia and industry, but we have over 30 academic staff working in composites, plus, you know, if you look at the whole size of the institute, it's about over 200 people. And we have our own vision for that institute, which you can just read there. Basically, we know we are a world-leading institute. We've got data to show that. So if you were to come to the CDT, you become part of that world-leading institute. So who are we? Well, you've heard from me so far. You'll hear from Ian Hamilton and Alberto shortly. But we have a management team, so CDT managers, Sarah and Layla, and then we have administrators, Kat's here with us today, and Alexandra. And then we have an industry engagement manager who's going to be joining us in July, actually. We've got a new industry engagement manager, and they help set up the interactions with industry. And then we have this little diagram here, shows us how we operate. So we have our management committee and supervisory team, but within the management committee, we have student reps. So students are very much at the heart of the decision making of how the CDT runs. We are scrutinised by an independent advisory board and assessed by an assessment group that oversee what we do in terms of the funding council and how we should be meeting their performance indicators. And this is, you know, very much a student-centred approach that we take, and we're very keen to know from students how things are working, how things are not working, and we meet regularly with students to do that. So I'll hand over to Alberto.
Thanks, Steve. So I'm as Steve said, I'm the program director. So I look after the formal taught component of the CDT, which is in year one. And being embedded in the BCI, and the BCI being such a large group, we capitalize on that for our training. And what we aim to do is transferring all of the knowledge within the BCI to our students, to our cohort. In the BCI, we say we cover composites, atom to structure, and we also cover the spectrum of disciplines ranging from engineering, science, and manufacturing. So our students get a very solid grounding in these disciplines, both theoretical and experimental. In doing that, we're also careful to give not only depth of knowledge, but also breadth of knowledge, including in our program all the latest research advancements. And this formal aspect of the training, if you will, is complemented by like a transferable skill training program, which runs in parallel. So we actually runs alongside the formal training, delivering additional skills, required skills at the point of need. So if you are supposed to be assessed, for instance, giving a presentation, a few weeks earlier, you will get some professional training in communication, for instance. Or if you're supposed to write an essay, you'll get writing skills training. So this is a unique feature of our CDT, and I think one of the best aspects of the training we offer. It's not just composites, essentially. Other benefits of the CDT are that it's, as I said earlier, it's embedded in the BCI, which is a world-leading group, as Steve said, and that comes with resources and capabilities. So the CDT is co-located, and the students are co-located in the BCI office together with the academics and world-leading experts. And unlike everyone else, at least in year one, the CDT cohort has a dedicated office space to basically engender that sense of like team and group that then carries on throughout the years. The CDT has very strong industrial links, and that those are also leveraged for the training element, not just for the research elements. Year one looks very much like a master's program, so it runs over 12 months. 180 credit points worth of material are delivered, 60 being a summer research project. And that's probably not relevant to you because I know you're from Bristol, and I believe from Bristol Engineering, but the program is tailored to recruit from a very wide background of undergraduates, essentially. So we recruit from science, physics, maths, and as well as engineering, obviously. That's all from me, I think. Ian, is it over to you or back to Steve? I can't remember.
Yes. Could you advance the slides? Thank you. I'm Ian Hamilton. I'm one of the co-directors, again, with the responsibility of looking after the research program. And essentially, once you have completed that talk program, you move into the PhD phase of the work. But prior to that, we assess what you want to look at for your research, and that starts comparatively early in November of the year that you join. We start talking about what your aspirations are in terms of research project, what sort of areas interest you, whether you're have an interest in developing materials or working on design with composites, or whether you're interested in manufacturing composites, manufacturing techniques. And we do that early on. I meet with the entire cohort individually. We talk about areas of interest, what sort of where the researchers see themselves at this point, in which sort of theme they might sit. But also we start to look at maybe banding some keywords around. So we have an idea of what your interests are in research. Those are circulated with the theme leaders, and staff are then asked to provide titles for research projects that match the sort of areas of interest, so that hopefully we can then line you up with supportive supervisors who are able to oversee and coordinate projects that will meet with your interests. And so, as has already been said, we've got a large number of academics already in the core staff, over 30 people. So that's complemented with people, staff who are associated with the BCI in other departments around the Bristol site, and also with collaborators further afield in other institutions. So there's a wide pool potentially of topics and things to consider. The industrial supervisors are also involved. There is a good 4 or 5 projects generally in a given year, possibly more, will have some industrial involvement, from full sponsorship through to additional work where there is an industrial application or an industrial flavour to the work. And hopefully this then sort of matches your own sort of areas of interest and helps you to develop your research either at a fundamental blue skies way or in a more applied way. So the project is about, or the PhD phase is about developing you and maturing you as a researcher, building on the initial 3-month project, which gives you a flavour of carrying out independent research. We give you a budget during the PhD phase. It's around £7,000, and this covers your conference travel and consumables, and gives you an opportunity to kind of support and extend your research during that time. In some cases, students want to go further afield, maybe visiting one of our industrial contacts, and we've got over a dozen places that buy into the industrial placement scheme, where we will fund you above your project budget to go into an academic institution chosen from a wide range of really top class international institutions, in order that you can pick up additional experience within a technique, and so that you can bring that information back to the BCI to help to expand and explore our own sort of understanding of new techniques where we might have some interest but not necessarily a strength here in Bristol. So it's a really mature program, and as you can see, we've got a number of project partners with whom we have worked or are working currently, and they represent a whole range of sectors within the composites industry, and range all the way from essentially all the way up and down the pipeline, from developing new materials through to working with manufacturing techniques and all points in between. So we can generally come up with someone who has some sort of general interest in your sort of topics. Currently, for this year, we've got several projects being sponsored, and indeed we're seeking still people to join with Solvay and Rolls-Royce, who are sponsoring projects for the coming year. I think that's everything that I have there. Super.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alberto. Thanks, Ian. So our cohorts, as I said already, we've had 4 cohorts so far, and this is our final cohort that we're recruiting for now. We've got 41 students, plus what we call aligned students. They're students who come in with their own funding, and you know, we can fund the international students on this program through scholarships and so on. But they take part in the program as well. And people come in with a diverse range of backgrounds, as Alberto's already said. You know, we take people from chemical, computer systems, aerospace, mechanical, science subjects, chemistry, physics, materials, mathematics as well. We have people from mathematics. Our students are from the UK, from EU, and also international students. And all of our graduating students have gone on to careers in industry, and in industry and academia, I should say, about 50-50, roughly split that way. But in terms of industrial careers, people have had careers in the aerospace, automated wind, civil engineering, and others as well. So there's a couple of quotes here, and you're going to hear from Christian shortly about his journey. But Stefania Rakramar really like the cultural diversity of the CDT, and we're very proud of the fact that we have people from such diverse backgrounds within the CDT, and that's one of the strengths of what we do. Christian's really keen on all the facilities, and I have to say we've got some really great facilities at the University of Bristol for doing research. And you know, and plus, you know, you get, because it's a cohort CDT, as Christian says here, you know, and people come in with all these different subjects, you can get help and different perspectives on your own project from your cohort. So Christian, over to you to say a few words about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So just an introduction to myself. I graduated from mechanical engineering in Malta, my home country, and moved to the UK for the CDT in September of 2021. So I'm part of the 2021 cohort. As was mentioned before, the CDT is made up of cohorts. So in my cohort, for example, we are a cohort of 10 with very versatile backgrounds. So 6 of us are have an engineering background, mechanical or aerospace, and the rest are non-engineers, so mathematicians, material scientists, chemists, and of the like. So my research focuses mainly on experimental and modeling of fatigue and damage tolerance in textile composites. Is part of the structures team, and kind of something which is very nice about the CDT is that you have your say when it comes to choosing a project. Of course, the PhD project will be a huge part of the next 3 years of your life. So it's very important that the project is kind of something that you want to do. So going back to the fact that the CDT is cohort based, like my personal perspective is on that is that it's a very useful scenario, because first year, as was mentioned, the entire cohort is based in the same office, which is very, apart from getting to know the people in your cohort, it's also very, very beneficial for the taught courses in your PhD, because you get a chance to bounce off ideas, get help from the rest of your cohort, help wherever you are able to, and also it has like the ability to keep the morale high. Otherwise, if you're a standalone PhD student, it can be more. Also, with the cohort, we do a lot of activities outside of the office. So we have a lot of team building activities. We go out together. We do bar. So that's a nice thing about the cohort as well. One nice thing also with the CDT in Bristol is that, as was mentioned, you get some extra money, which can be used for conferences and so on, which is something you might not get in other CDTs, when I was looking at least. Another good thing is that you have the possibility to work in projects that are funded or that are in collaboration with industry. So, for example, my project is in collaboration with Rolls-Royce. So I I get to have bi-weekly meetings with people from Rolls-Royce, get to network with people from Rolls-Royce, build up my connections, which will be very useful with when I will be finishing my PhD. Another thing which was also mentioned, I think it's extremely good about the CDT is the fact that you can go abroad as a visiting researcher on the industrial placement, the international placement scheme, sorry. And that's also something which you don't find everywhere. And which is a personal take, I guess, is that both the first year and the research phase, I found a lot of support. So whenever you have a problem in your research, there's an expert in the problem not further than three doors away from your office. Is very open to have a chat. So this is something that is very useful when you're doing a PhD. That's all. Hopefully this was helpful, and good luck.
Thanks, Christian. Hopefully you could hear that we're having a few connection problems there, but hopefully you managed to get most of that. But thank you so much for that. So on to the applications process. So you have to submit an application if you want to apply to us via the university's online application system, and or you can go onto the CDT website and click apply now. Our entry requirements are that you need a 2-1 in a relevant subject, so any of those subjects below, but that's not an exhaustive list. And we've got a current application deadline of the end of July, but our program starts in September this year. If you've got any queries, do get in touch with us. Hopefully there's quite a few notes actually on our CDT website about how to apply. You don't, for instance, need to have a research proposal at this stage. That we give you some text that you can put into that box actually in your application. And so on the system, it seems to imply that you need funding, but if you're a UK applicant, we fully fund your position, so that's not a requirement to enter. We actually cover that off, so just to be aware of that. And I think that's it. So